Hey, Dr. Davis in class. So for this week's discussion, we had to talk about an idea that we had for the Walker Natatorium, which is the old pool. And since I got here in 2015 and was on the swim and dive team, always noticed that the old pool was there. And it's just kind of been an interest for me because being on the swim and dive team, old pools kind of fascinate me. And seeing the old pool and seeing how bad the condition it is in right now. And I've always thought that being on the swim and dive team and being a top ranked swim and dive team, the dive team has been neglected in some sort of way that it doesn't have a dryland facility specific for diving. And I thought for my idea for the Walker Natatorium pool would be to make that into a dryland facility for the dive team. And I believe that if we were to make this into a dryland facility, it would bring to the next level the divers that we have because we already send 4+ divers a year to nationals, but it would bring the divers to the next level, which they would need to be able to do better at nationals or even be able to send more divers to nationals, which is important. Um, for according to the website Hydro Plus Logic, an article by Steve Foley and I'm about to share with you guys. Um, like USA Diving, they currently lack the facilities of being like world class facilities, and the requirements of a world class dryland training facility would include like four 8x5, 8.5 meter springboards, where the springboards can they're in concrete, they're mounted to the concrete, but they go down enough into the concrete. There's like a dip in the ground so that the end of the board doesn't hit the ground. Four trampolines that are sunken, and one sunken foam pit, and at least three of the springboards and two of the trampolines. They must have overhead harnesses to be considered a top to be considered a world class training facility. And I believe that the Walker Natatorium could be turned into just that, because the pool already has, it's already not filled. I mean, it's a pool still. So I think that if we were able to get the dry boards we needed, and the trampolines we needed, it wouldn't cost significantly as much as it would to completely flatten the pool as it would to just flatten it to the point where we need it, and then where the dry boards are, uh, we could frame it. They could be framed, and they can already have the dips that it needs for the dry boards and for the trampolines and for the foam pits. And that would be a great idea because I think that the diving, like I said, has been neglected here at Delta State, and it needs that sort of like the dryland facility to bring it to the top, like to the next level. And if the building were to be refurnished, it already has the steel bars across the top that can be utilized to put the harnesses on it, which is what is needed to be considered a world-class facility. So I think also that having this dryland facility, it would bring attention to Delta State, not just to the swim and dive program and the divers in specific, but to the university and to the city, because diving as a sport in Mississippi is not a thing. But aside from here at Delta State, because we're the only university that has a swim and dive team, uh, diving is just not a sport. It's not in high school. You don't learn it. They don't have coaches. They don't have the facilities for it here. Um, just having the diving boards alone. So there's no coaches here besides the one that's here for Delta State. And I think if we had this dryland facility, it would bring the attention we need to the sport, and to, like I said, it would bring all the credit back to Delta State University because with this, the Delta State University can host like a club team, and they can have a club team that can potentially be very good if this facility turns out the way it needs to be. And it could have the dryland aspects that a lot of now USA Diver athletes, like when they're young, when they're looking for the next level of a club team, when they go from just basic learning to like the club level, they're looking for the next level facility, which includes a dryland facility. And being able to maybe start up a club team here would be a good idea because it would encourage the sport of diving. And it could also maybe shine light to maybe Mississippi high school athletics to start showing it as a sport and making diving a sport in Mississippi high school athletics. And it would also, another idea that I had is if we had a dryland facility, Delta State, the swim and dive team could host a dive camp every year, and it could have, say, 50 plus athletes come, and they'd be able to utilize the pool, which is already a phenomenal facility. And then if they had a dryland facility, it would just dominate in the athletic world, and being, especially like I said, a top ranked Division II facility. And it would outshine, because we could have it would draw in athletes and coaches if we had a dive camp, because they could also be encouraged to be able to dive along with the university's dive team, and say some of our divers were to stay here during the summer, they could train with them, and it would be just a fun experience, and it would draw in like the children's attention, and it would draw in coaches, and it would draw in revenue that it needed for it to get its full purpose. And I believe that if diving, like I said, if this were to become a thing, a dryland facility, it would be great, because Walker Natatorium is already right next to the Ronnie Myers Athletic Center, the Ronnie Myers Aquatic Center. So it's right across. So the divers could, right now on the dive team, be able to go from the dryland facility to the pool, or from the pool to the dryland facility, vice versa. And they'd be able to step up their training and get the next level training they need to be competitive in this day and age. And diving is an upcoming sport people are getting better, and they're getting better because they have more facilities to utilize and dryland facilities to utilize. So that's my idea for the Walker Natatorium. I can't wait to hear your guys' ideas, and I can't wait to see you guys in class. Have a good one.